My name is Tim and I am the co-director of empowerment programs, and this is always the favorite time of the month. No stress for everyone.
Thanks, Tim. I'm Darlene Hansen, and I am the other co-director of the empowerment team. And I appreciate you all being here this week. I want to introduce and pass this off to William, who is also on our team. Do you want to introduce yourself, William?
My name is William Del Rosario, and I am a student intern with DVU. I am a 23-year-old Hispanic Filipino male with black hair, brown eyes, wear glasses, and my pronouns are he and him. I have autism, apraxia, am a multimodal communicator, and use AAC. Supporting me today is my mom, Michelle. Thank you for making the time to be here.
Thanks, William. And then we have one more team member here. Where are you, Ms. Spiegelman? Nina? Are you here? I think she's here. There she is.
Sorry about that. I had to be unmuted. Hello, my name is Nina Spiegelman, pronouns she, her, and I am the policy director for Disability Voices United, but my most favorite thing, as I always say, is hanging out with these communication folks, and especially these Communication Access Connects. These are just the best and most important issues. So really looking forward to the discussion today. Thanks, guys.
All right. I think Tim has more.
Darlene and I wear multiple shoes. She is my right and I'm her left, and we have two different souls.
No, oh my God, Tim, you're killing me. Did you just make that up? Oh my God. Hilarious. Okay. Well, today it's summer, and so we're kind of in transition mode here for a couple of reasons. One, and I don't know, all of you might, William's laughing. All of you might not have been involved in this, but are certainly worthy of being involved in it. We have just finished up and have one more session to do of our Speakers Bureau for Self-Advocates. And here at DVU, that was a project we had. We had 3 virtual classes, and then we have one in person, and we did one in Downey, and then we're now doing one in San Jose in 2 weekends from now. And that's all part of our grant, which we get through Ability Central and with Foundation. So thank you to them. But we're kind of we're gearing up. I mean, we're just like revving up, I guess. We're just in big self-advocacy mode. And you all are always so engaging and enthusiastic about telling us what you need. And we're really thinking, you know, that the momentum's moving. Okay, we're moving on these things. It's slow, you know, it always is slow, but we are moving. One of the things that happened at the Emerging Leaders Day, which is the second half of our in-person thing that we do, was Nancy Bargeman came, and she was talking about some changes that stations that they could make at DDS, and she alluded to wanting to have more about communication. So I think all of us need to get involved in that and stay informed on that. There's no word yet as to when and how soon they're getting organized with their strategic plans and such, but we're going to keep you informed because we're very excited about that. And we see this as an opportunity we don't want to miss. So we thought today we could kind of get these juices flowing so that when we do get a call with Nancy, or we get to invite any of you to, I mean, not we get to, but we want to invite you guys. And there's certain people that have certain opinions that we're like, okay, that person needs to share their story. we'll find you and track you and hunt you down. But so today we want to talk about that a little bit. One of the questions that we were discussing as our group goes is, what in the name of that is, what do we want to see changed? If you got to go sit with Nancy Bargeman right now, or the director of special education for the state of California, who I'm not sure who that is right now, I'm sorry. What do you want to say? What do you want to see changed? And put in the chat, raise your hand and we'll unmute you. You know, do a reaction if somebody says something exciting. But William and Tim for sure put things in the chat as well. Some of the stuff that we've been talking about as a group is, you guys want, and all of you individuals want to be seen as the center of the conversation, right? That's something we want to see change. We want to see AAC users be the center of the conversation, since you are the persons that these various meetings are supporting and discussing, right? You want to support access, you want support for access to communication. And this is a biggie. I wrote it as stop the madness. You want stop the constant and repetitive assessment, documentation of known facts about your communication needs that hold up getting access to communication. These are some things that we've been making note of. Let's see. Things are coming in. Deva says, I gotta go. Whoa, sorry. Okay, goodbye, Deva. Mario says, I want to change to have more drive or carpool and be involved in jobs and schools and friends. So you want to be more engaged in your life and in this community and have easy access to everything. Okay, Sue says more access to communication partners. And Meryl said yes to that. Carrie says school for kids. Okay, do you mean a special school, Carrie, or do you mean that kids aren't getting to go to school or getting to communicate in school? Tiffany says support for those that have little to no language. Yes. William says we are in the middle of designing changes that can make the future of AAC accessible. Right, we want to be heard, right? Disability Voices United. Lisa says equal opportunities for education and employment. So these are great, and we'll be saving this transcript because I think this is what we're going to have to go through and highlight and talk to Nancy about when we get to talk to Nancy, but also call you and say, can you help us talk to Nancy? But let's break down some of these. So if you're Sue saying more access to communication partners, and you don't have to be Sue answering this question, but anybody who wants more access to communication partners, how do you think that's going to happen? What do you think needs to happen? Like, what would your ask be to DDS? Tim says, I want to be heard by the first person and not be a bookmark in my meetings. Yeah, be in charge, be the focal point. And so I don't know if we want to have two conversations going or not at this time. This is where it gets dicey when we're using the chat so much. Support groups for those device users. Okay, good one too. But if you're in Tim's camp, which would be to be heard as the first person in the meeting, not be a bookmark in his own meetings. How do you guys feel like that can be addressed? Like, what is the ask for that? So we have two things, right? You want to be the driver, the center of your meetings, and you want to have access to communication partners. Deva says, William, I'm also buying a 7-bedroom house to fill with 18 to 21-year-old former foster care kids. I'm going to request disabled kids, and particularly one with communication issues. Deva, oh, wow. Nice, Deva. Lisa says funding for training and paying communication partners. Okay. funding for training and communication partners. Okay, very good. Carrie says more job opportunities for nonverbal adults. And that's something Tim and I've been talking about too, right, Tim, about all that goes into being an AAC user as an employment. I think we should talk about that after we got done talking about these two, because that's, Tim and I have been going back and forth. We're like, I don't know the answer. This is new territory. So you guys this would be a great opportunity to discuss that. Training and funding communication coaches in AAC, Christine says. Okay, so training and funding. All right, so I guess we would be saying to DDS and or the education system, if we get to talk to them, how are we going to get training and funding of communication coaches and communication partners into our service plans? If that's where they need to sit. If you can't just provide it because it's the right thing to do, then I guess it has to be written down. So how are we going to get that in there?
And I'm just going to jump in and just say, these are all super great. But as Darlene said, in terms of breaking it down, in terms of like, how do we operationalize these ideas and these asks into saying, here are the barriers people are encountering in trying to get this stuff. It would be great to also make note of what barriers, what kind of problems have you encountered as you have raised these issues at regional center, at schools. That would be really good. So we can kind of look, because we're looking systemically here, like what's the pattern here? What have the issues been? So if you can make note of that, that would be awesome.
That's a really great point. Great way to bring the conversation to the center, right, Nina? Like if we start talking about barriers, then they get nervous in a sense. And that's what they're supposed to break down. So that's a great way to bring it all around. Sue says, make each regional center provide communication partners. We've been stuck because HR, okay, here's a barrier maybe. HRC and WRC, to get it. Getting employees is a challenge. Getting them to travel to other areas is another one. Okay, well, yeah. Being somebody who doesn't like to leave their house, I hear you on that one. But I mean, I don't like to leave people without communication first. That's my bigger deal. Okay, so we've been stuck because they don't get it. And getting employees is a challenge. So provide communication. Okay, so what's the so Sue, I'm going to use you as an example. When you say I need a communication partner, what are you met with? That's your barrier, right? So anybody, when you say I need a communication partner, what is the barrier that you are being presented with? Okay, go Tim.
For the communication partner, I want to see a set rate from regional center and DDS, such as when they set a rate for vendors for SLS rates. To my knowledge, communication partners is not a job title or a service code, and therefore, regional centers can't set a rate where to start the budget at.
Okay, that's a perfect barrier, right? Because we're met with the fact that, oh, we don't have a service code for that. That means we don't provide that. And we don't have a mechanism for that, right?
Right. And it's also kind of a good example of often you'll hear, and I think that's what we're seeing in these comments, regional centers say, well, you can't find anybody, we were willing, but there's nobody, the labor shortage. But as Tim pointed out, the barriers related to no code, no rates, that all plays into it. So, it's kind of, being able to say, there's a kind of complicated set of issues here that we have, we can propose solutions for, or at least let's understand what's going on.
Well, and everybody's got a shortage in finding staff.
That's across in every field, in every, from, the local coffee shop to the universities. That's everywhere.
So if that was a true rationale, then they wouldn't be funding behavior support. They wouldn't be funding SLS support, right? Because that all of those teams and those agencies are met with that same, it's a reality right now. And so that's not the answer. The answer is, I think, there's no code for that. There's no hiring system for that.
Right.
And that needs to be fixed. I want to say what William has said here. William said the days of our AAC being called talkers now is shifting to us being the people talking at the center of the conversation. Is that another great Williamism?
Totally, write that down. It's in
I
the
know.
list.
I love that. I mean, yeah, like, I don't know how to, this is kind of a tangent, but how do you guys who use AAC, how do you feel about people calling your device your talker? Okay, Tim's a no. I don't know. It's not my world, but I wonder how you feel about that. We're going to have a lot of conversations going on here, so I'm sorry. We'll have to definitely reorganize our notes here, but I love it. Ryan says, I'm an AI assistant. Oh, okay. Ryan's not saying this. Ryan's AI assistant helping Ryan Duncan take notes for this meeting. Okay, thanks. Thanks to your AI assistant. You're gonna have to teach us how that works, Ryan. Mariel says, hi, nice to meet you all. Mariel, and thank you. The AI. Sue says, as far as I know, Harbor Regional Center doesn't have them. They use whatever, who's the WRC? I don't know which one that. West Side? No. West Side?
That's West Side Regional.
Out of their area, and it's hard getting someone to work outside of their own area. Yes, yes. Kathy and Philip say, having a self-regulation partner, having a trained staff that is able to manage the device user. So somebody to support you as a person who needs that emotional, physical, timing, just prior knowledge kind of background about you. That's the self-regulation partner, which is not somebody who can just show up today. They have to be trained. William says, the barrier for me has been getting training for staff. Same thing. Okay. Regional Center wants respite, ILS, or any other vendor to absorb the communication training in their rate, which is already very low. Communication training should be a separate service. Okay, yeah. I think that's a great way to put in, here's a solution to our barrier. Sue calls her daughter's call my daughter's a communication device. Yeah, that's clever. I love that. Kathy and Phillips say, yes, William, we have the same barrier. Yeah. So there's a solution to our barrier, Nina, is fund training as a separate service.
Yes, and recognize it right as its own discrete need.
I think, and I'm not an AAC user, but I think my observation in the system for all this time is that it doesn't make sense to me that for example, a behavior team gets to say that, I'm kind of sticking in autism here, sorry, but as an example, a behavior team gets to say that a behavior is communicative and that there's no expectation that anybody on that team understands communication. There's no accountability for what kind of communication support that team's getting. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like if I went to the doctor because I needed my kidneys looked at, and then they said, well, that happens because you eat too much salt, and they didn't say you should go see a nutritionist. Well, why, however that works, right? Like we link things together and we support all of the pieces, not just the one element.
Right. A much more like whole person
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
Right. I mean, and there's a lot of rhetoric in the general sort of Medicare stuff about the need for whole person care. And we need to import the concept. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Import that concept to this and not have everything so siloed, and it's
Right.
so not helpful. Right.
Right. Tim's got something.
This is a friendly reminder. People are welcome to raise your hands and we can unmute you and hear you. We would rather hear you than reading the chat.
Thank you, Tim. Sue says, but many have and still do say talker for the device. Yeah. Alvar, hey Alvar. Living wage and whoops, you scooted along. Living wage and benefits for communication partners would likely be key because my understanding is that it is not currently in practice, which is a significant barrier to having enough communication partners that stay in the job long term. Right, we have to employ people for retention, right? That's a great point, Alvar. Ed says, unless the chat is more accessible for you. Correct, yes. We're multimodality here. Kathy and Philip say a pay scale for the support person that reflects the skills of the trained support person in order to keep them employed. Correct. And if, here, I'll give a solution. If the barrier to that, getting that person, is that we don't have a system of, for example, certification or whatever else they need to justify the appropriate dollar amounts, then tell us what it is that we need to get together. And then we can put it together, right? Like be upfront, say in order to have the respect level of what you're asking for, we need A, B, C, and D in place. Okay, we'll go get that then, right? William agrees with Alvar. Great.
Just like ASL interpreters, communication partners should be a professional learned skills rather than an afterthought for a staff.
Right. Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, that is a perfect kind of example, analogy, and something concrete. That's what you want, something that you can point to as an example to build on, to create a system that provides, incentivizes going into this field.
So kind of going back to what Tim and I think William said at the beginning, I don't know if he did, William, or not, but like putting yourselves at the center of the meeting. Like I see that even for the schools, right? If you and your communication are not at the center of the meeting, then how is the rest of the meeting going to be changed? And so what's the barrier to making, if you agree with me, what's the barrier to making that opportunity that you are at the center of the meeting? Or maybe maybe there's people who feel like they are at the center of their meeting, and then you could tell us how that happened in case there's people who aren't, right? Either way, chime in. I don't know if Alvar's typing or not, but I'm going to pick on you for a second, Alvar, if you're here. I'm just wondering, because I feel like you have a strong presence about yourself. And I'm wondering how if you are putting yourself in the center of that meeting, or how you feel like you achieve that. Kathy and Philip say the staff needs to be trained, but there are no specific training programs, right? Or certificated training programs that our regional center approves. Exactly. And that's why I'm saying, we'll just ask them, like, well, tell us what that needs to look like. And then we'll go and see about getting that created. William says, for me, wanted my mom to train staff on communication. Do parents of deaf people have to teach ASL? The DOR, excuse me, wanted. Right, why is the story changing? That's a great aha question, William. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, here's Ed's answer, William. She said, no, they just tell the deaf student to lip read.
Speaking from personal experience.
Oh, man. You know, I'm here in Houston visiting a friend in the hospital, and they have these little machines. It's a training hospital, so it's very, very, very fancy. And they have these modules around the hospital wings that are interpreters. They're little computer people, interpreters. But I was reading it, I'm like, oh, look at that. And but the only thing they're interpreting is a second language. So I'm like, oh, you still left out the other kinds of language supports that we need. So it's kind of a letdown. Alvar says, in my experience, ableism and dehumanization is what causes my expertise, needs, and opinions to be ignored. Those are good barriers to note down. Not good to have, but good to know. The main way I've tried to address that is by finding providers that will respect me. Well, that's one way. It's kind of like boycotting those that don't, right? I know that a lot of families I know do that, where they say, no, those people don't meet our needs. They're not even, I don't even know why you're having me talk to them. They don't talk and think like I do at all. Kathy Phillips said, yeah, they've seen these little robot guys, interpreters. Carrie, are you typing to us, Carrie? No? Okay. Do you have any thoughts, Carrie?
Yeah.
Go, Tim.
Darlene, from your perspective and being a SLP, do you remember taking a class on communication partners in school, or did you learn it in your career, since you are older than most of us, and has the curriculum changed for SLP?
Well, yes, the curriculum has changed because in terms of AAC, I went to school with the caveman because we didn't really have it. I mean, I didn't even own a computer in my home when I went to college. Okay. So they were just starting to come out, and those techie people owned a computer, not normal people. But as the training has evolved, there are AAC courses now for people. I think there's just one though. I think you just have to take one to finish your degree. I could be wrong. Feel free if anybody's online and wants to correct me, that's fine. But it's about all the pieces about like, what does AAC include? And of course, AAC doesn't include communication partners because people's mindset is that, you know, like I'm gonna use an analogy, like the Amazon guy delivers it to your house and then you're ready to go, you know, that's people's mindset. And so I don't know that the follow-up piece is a part, from what I've seen, a part of people's understanding in most training situations. And I see the communication partner part as a piece of that follow-up, right? Is that there's more to it than just this piece of equipment. So no, it's not enough. I think the challenge with speech and language training is that, and I don't know that it's a bad thing, but we just have to remember it. Speech and language is a huge field, huge. And you could be working in research, you could be working with people with articulation differences, you could be working with AAC users, you could be working with the hearing impaired and their speech needs. I mean, you could work in a senior citizens community and work on their needs. Yeah, so many things. You could work on trachs and technology. I mean, and so but we all go to the same classes. So when you go to school to be a speech pathologist, you're learning all about all of that. And then you come out and then you specialize in something, right? But, or you focus, you don't have to specialize, but you focus on something, but your training is in everything. So I think that AAC might have, only one class, but voice disorders only has one class too. Okay. So it's not like they're picking on AAC users. There's a lot of things that only have one class. Because it's such a wide
That's
world.
one barrier that we have to change, because I know many SLP that still doesn't understand communication partners, yet alone AAC. There are just a handful of SLP that really understand AAC.
I know. I think
But
that
that's a really good, so that's really getting at the fundamental educational, curriculum of the key, set of people, the SLPs, right? I mean, that would be amazing to look at that. But I was thinking about what Alvar was saying as when you were in response to your question about how you put yourself at the center, like how do you do that? And, and as Alvar was pointing out, I mean, it's really, you're dealing with in so many settings, so much kind of ableism and, wanting to make you invisible and, that sort of thing. And so, I mean, sort of systemically, I think it's really, we all need to think about how we can say, wait a minute, there's got to be, in terms of required meetings that people are at, just because you have communication supports or use a device or whatever, you're still at the center, like some reinforcement of this meeting is about you, and you preserve all your rights to run it and have it be cover what you want are not lost. So, it's, I think, another opportunity to kind of get that underscored in like all the policies around these meetings. Because presumably there are some rights. These meetings are supposed to include the actual person. So,
I'm gonna catch us up on the thread here. So Kathy and Philip said, if you said, yes, I've seen them. I think you're talking about the dehumanizing thing, but you also go on to say, I will say that the voice output is never loud. Oh, okay, talking about devices, never loud enough on devices for a crowded restaurant. Oh, Tim's is three tables over are saying, can that guy turn it down? So get together with Tim. He's got the solution to that one. Well, you can share that after a while, Tim, if you want to. William says, my low tech is a letterboard. Jeremiah said, and this is what Alvar, I think, was talking about, I would love to know how to receive a voice output communication device for a non-speaking or nonverbal client of mine, or if you offer resources to get one. So there, and then Alvar says, hi, Jeremiah, there's the voice options. That the only thing they will offer you, which is fine for most people, but if it isn't what you need, then it doesn't help you, is the iPad with a communication application. And they have, I think, 3 or 4 to pick from, and you do get to do a trial to pick one. You have to complete the form and send it in, and sometimes it takes a while and sometimes it comes real fast, but that's a free option as a resource. Yeah, there you go. I knew William would put it in there. So you can do that. Sue says exactly right, Tim. Kathy and Philip say another barrier is getting multiple devices needed funded. Philip uses the iPad, laptop, and an iPhone. We need to jump through so many hoops to get what is necessary for him to be successful in multiple settings. Good point. Sabrina says, Tim, I wonder if you could guest lecture for SLP students, medical students, or other professionals who will encounter AAC and communication partners in their career. And Tim could do that, but so could so many of the rest of you out here. Because Tim is only one person. And I'm just speaking for you, Tim, but he doesn't say no. That's something he's got to work on. But the reality is that I'm just saying, for real, any one of you could do that. I don't know where you were thinking, but I'm just going to name Alvar, Kelly, Deva, all of you could do that, right? William. Kathy says, and a device means nothing without a support person. That's, for some people, that's very true. Most people, actually. Jeremiah says, thank you very much. I'm not an SLP, but a life coach for clients with disabilities. I will check out the resources. And if anyone has any others, that would be appreciated. Okay, my email is, and Jeremiah, I'm going to put mine in here. Feel free to write to me and we can put together some ideas for you. And anybody can use it, but
My first SLP was Mrs. McDonald. She was very old. She long passed many years ago, but she taught me how to use AAC in elementary school.
wow.
Barbara McDonald was a staple in my communication life. I would be here with you all without Mrs. McDonald. So, Darlene, you could be a stable in many people's lives.
I could be. And but I love that you had someone back then in those days. I mean, that's awesome because that's rare. And I'm not saying you're old, but the reality of generations of technology, you were a newbie, right? Tiffany says, I accidentally logged out. Oh, sorry. My daughter aged out of school a few years ago. Does Regional Center cover AAC or speech? We're having getting speech through Medi-Cal, and she has very little language and uses only and mostly scripts. How do we access this? So that's part of the problem, Tiffany, is that it doesn't get, there's no service codes, right? There's a service code for speech therapy. But if you're older and that isn't exactly what you need, then sometimes it's hard to find a provider. There's lots of complications for that. But we believe communication is important no matter how you're doing it. Again, email me and Tim and I can talk some more about some processes. If you're in self-determination, you can get a little more creative with needing access to your communication. Still is not a fix, but, and you still have to really argue it. But it is easier than the traditional, I find. Kirstine said, I just found an ASL instructor for my son. She came to our house and started teaching my son. I did not have to train her. It would be so great to be able to hire an AAC person that we don't have to train. Yeah, the resources are so limited and the need is huge. DDS and IRC need to address this unmet need. Exactly. Parents, okay, so that's another barrier, is that parents are being expected to be the trainers. Michelle says, I see a huge, hi Michelle. Michelle says, I see a huge gap in service for deaf plus individuals. Yes, we need more ASL fluent staff. Yes, we do too. Yeah.
I need to give a shout out to Michelle Yook. She is on the board for Ability Central. Thank you for coming, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Jeremiah says, thank you kindly. I did complete the post-bac BACC courses at San Diego State University. for speech pathology, but decided to do life coaching. I like that, Jeremiah. I gotta meet you. I like life coaching. I love life coaching.
You've got some raised hands.
Oh, where? Okay, I see.
Harry and Judy, Mark, you know her?
Why am I not seeing these? Oh, here they are. Okay, sorry, guys. Can somebody unmute whoever?
Judy's
my screen-
co-host, so she can unmute. Go ahead, Judy.
I unmuted, but if does somebody else have their hand raised? Because I'm happy to have someone else go before me.
I'm on
So
this.
I think this Carrie has her hand raised.
Okay, Carrie, go. I'm gonna unmute you. Hang on. Thanks. I'm on this little computer today. I can't see anybody. Go for it, Carrie. I think we unmuted you. There you go.
Next month, I'm going to speak to class at the Fullerton College. So how will I explain the students about the communication partner for someone who needs emotional support?
That's a great question. Next month you're doing this? Okay. If you email, William, you want to put an email address in there? And I think William would be a great person to talk with about that. I'm sure he has something written already that he can share with you. That would be really good. But in a nutshell, there are people who, all different kinds of walks of life, persons need AAC. There are individuals who need AAC, but can't access it without somebody to assist them in getting their focus and their body organized. And we call that a self-regulation or communication regulation partner. And it's because, so for example, if you have autism, you might be a person who's has something about tapping the table all the time. Well, that would get in the way of accessing your device. So your communication partner organizes you so that you're not always tapping the table and you can get to the device to say it. That is a physical person at this time. There is not a piece of technology to support you with that. There's no way to fix it other than a person right now. So they need a communication partner in order to access their communication. When you're denied that access, that communication partner, your body's just going to keep tapping. In my example, keep tapping. You're not going to show that you know anything or you want to say anything. So, and that's the problem, is that people think that that experience of tapping at stuff is on purpose and done, or is done without intent. Either way, it doesn't have meaning to the conversation in their minds. But if you get it to stop through your communication partner, you can say what you need to say. But William can help you with that, Carrie. Judy.
Hi, everybody. So great to see all of you. So I have a little exercise for all of you based on what Darlene talked about at the beginning of this meeting, which is that Nancy Bargeman, who's the director of the Department of Developmental Services, was at our meeting, at our Emerging Leaders program, and the mod squad, I believe it was William and Bella, or maybe it was Otto and Bella, well, all of them asked her the question, like, we need to get communication partners funded. And she completely misinterpreted the question and answered it as if you needed devices funded. And she's like, yeah, we gotta really talk about communication. And then we really got to do something about getting you those AC devices, like completely not getting it. So my little exercise, and I'm going with Tim on this, where I'd like to hear you actually use your voice output or your communication partner, because if you got a meeting with Nancy Bargeman next week, you shouldn't be using chat with her. You should absolutely be using your communication device, and you should be using your communication partner. So if you had a meeting with Director Nancy Bargeman next week, how would you, in in a few sentences, convince her that the regional center should be funding not just for the device, but also for the trained staff to be communication partners.
Okay, we'll watch for those answers to come in, Judy. I'm going to catch us up on the translation stuff here. Christina translated from Maria, and it says, if I, as a parent, only communicate in Spanish, how do I find or look for someone to evaluate my daughter to see if it's time for her to change device? When she was in school, she was evaluated by a speech specialist. Today, she only receives speech therapy, but the person who gives her therapy is not a specialist. Okay, but the person who gives her therapy, who's not a specialist, should be connected to a specialist. I mean, I'm assuming this person's a SLPA or perhaps an AT person. But there should be a speech person that is involved. So what you're saying is you need another assessment to see if she's using the best piece of equipment for her these days. Do you feel like that person needs to be a Spanish speaking clinician? Is my question. William says, people get stuck on the mode and forget about teaching communication or the method. Yeah, that's the other thing, William, you are so right. People say, oh, he's not ready yet. Like, we can't like instruct you how to use your piece of equipment. You have to show you're ready to have a communication system. Again, newborn babies, we don't say that. Oh, he's not ready for you to talk to him. We just start doing it, right? So that's a good one too, William. Michelle said, smile to Tim Jim. All right, let's see. Okay, so Carrie has a question. Next month, I'm going to, oh, sorry, I got that. There's Williams at 6:46. Oh, wait, it'd be 4:46 for you all. 4:46 is William's email. If you want to email him, Carrie, to get information about what to say as describing a communication partner. Sheila says, I don't get the link to this meeting. It isn't in the email. I didn't get the link to this. Oh. Maybe Christina or Ed can help you with that. Sheila, I'm not sure.
Already in that thread with her. Thanks, Darlene.
Oh, sorry. I gotta catch up, guys. Sorry.
We have another raised hand, Maria Ariano.
Okay. I think that's, yeah, let's go for that. Maria, sorry.
Sí, hola, buenas tardes. Yo quería hacer un comentario y es casi relacionado bueno, a la pregunta y comentario que hizo la mamá anterior. Regularmente algunos distritos, por ejemplo, bueno, voy a poner el ejemplo del USD, cuando un estudiante califica para un equipo, para comunicación aumentativa, que lo maneja así como tecnología asistiva, regularmente trabajan colaborativamente el terapeuta del habla y lenguaje con la persona que está a cargo de tecnología asistiva y que tiene el caso del joven o el niño, y trabajan colaborativamente. Incluso así lo hacen con diferentes terapias. Yo, por ejemplo, en mi caso particular con mi hija, cuando ella tenía ciertos dispositivos, pero era para terapia ocupacional, el terapeuta ocupacional trabajaba colaborativamente con tecnología asistiva para que esto fuera mucho más efectivo. Incluso cuando era una situación, cuando era una terapia de habla y lenguaje con un terapeuta del habla y lenguaje o patólogo del habla y lenguaje, siempre trabajan muy colaborativamente, incluso para el entrenamiento del nuevo equipo, para entrenar a los padres, para que los padres se involucren también en este grupo, porque es terapeuta del habla y lenguaje, la persona que está a cargo de tecnología asistiva, y también el padre, porque también el padre es en el entrenamiento para que ellos puedan aprender a utilizarlo, saber los beneficios y también cómo apoyar a su hijo de algún momento en casa con el dispositivo. Y de esa manera lo trabajan. No sé, la verdad desconozco cómo trabaje en el resto de los distritos escolares, pero LUSD lo maneja de esa manera. Gracias.
Well, that's awesome. That is a great model. to have everybody as a team working together and teaching and supporting you as a family, but also at the same time that supports your daughter to be a more effective communicator or walker, whatever she's working on with all these specialists. That's teaming. That's perfect. So that actually, I think it was Maria, right, that said that is a good solution to work towards, right? We want a team. We want people to work as a team to educating the communication partners. I'm assuming they train your school people as well in the same fashion so that communication is always available. And I think, does Maria have another thing to say on this? Not sure.
Sí, quería agregar algo al final. Es importante que también cuando tengas la reunión de IP, puedas documentar en donde tú quieres entrenamiento, conocimiento del equipo y entrenamiento. Y entrenamiento en donde también puedas tener en donde tú puedas tener la oportunidad de manejar efectivamente el equipo y también el entrenamiento para cómo trabajarlo con tu hijo, porque yo de esa manera, yo pedí el entrenamiento, investigué que era posible, entonces yo pedí el entrenamiento, pero para mí fue muy, muy importante documentarlo muy detalladamente. ¿Cómo querías el entrenamiento? ¿Para qué querías el entrenamiento? Y también también el entrenamiento de conocer ampliamente el equipo. Y también documentar que el equipo necesita mantenimiento, que se le diera ese mantenimiento, cada cuánto se le va ese mantenimiento y que te dieran toda esa información y que esa información esté documentada muy detalladamente en el documento del IP. Gracias.
That's Maria, you are a great advocate. I think those are great points, and often people don't want to talk about, like, for example, what caught my ear was the communication breakdown because the device breaks down. Like, how much support is it going to take to get that fixed? If nobody's on your team to address it right then and there, and you think the teacher's going to talk about it later, it's not going to happen right away. So I think that's really important to really think about. If you're given a report and you're sitting with a service provider, look at that report and say thank you if it's a good one, right? But make sure that it advocates for all of these things. Technology breaks down. People need to understand how your communication works when you're using it. Lots of people, not just your aide or your support person, but your family and the whole team of people that supports you. You need to have time to practice. You need to have time to explore. You need to have directed time to grow with that device. And any of those other brilliant things that Maria said. So make sure that that's either in the report or at least in the meeting notes, because yes, you're right. It needs to happen. Now, this is a different Maria saying, I could say for sure if my daughter is ready for being more verbal as well, since she understands the concepts of many things today. I will be asking the agency if they have a specialist to evaluate her. Okay, perfect. And if they don't, call us. Yeah. Go for it, Tim.
Darlene, you and I talked about this. I'm sorry to be picking on you, but you are a white lady that just speaks English. We need more SLP or AT specialists that speak more than English. We should get Lisa Davidson on. She is also a SLP and teaches at Cal State Fullerton, and we should get her insight on her students on different cultures with SLP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many cultures is very biased on AAC or communication partners.
Yeah, I always agree with you on that, Tim. There are communication specialists and speech and language people who are multilingual, but again, they're few and far between. And I think we need to have them be more apparent so that we can see them. That's a good, okay, make that mental note. I know you will. We'll continue this conversation. Kathy said, and in order for our son to shine and have a positive communication interaction and integrate in the community, he needs someone to organize him. He has difficulty with integration and organization. There are so many movements and exchanges on our outings. How can our son predict all the social interactions and have all the necessary language needed for every environment? Right. And that's why we need the communication partner. William said, my communication partner is a coach for my sensory motor system, from vision to auditory to fighting with motor loops I get stuck on. I also need them to help me with programming or moving to low tech support when needed. Yeah, there's just a lot of things. Grayson, or Grayso, sorry. Let's have you unmute. Can I?
Hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Sí, buenas tardes. Tengo una inquietud, una pregunta. Yo tengo un hijo epiléptico, autista. Él tiene mucho movimiento en sus manos, se pega en los oídos. Él tiene también movimientos, camina mucho. Él solamente se puede quedar quieto con su teléfono. Es la única manera que él puede estar sentado. Pero en la escuela lo están haciendo de una manera como que todo está bien, ¿verdad? Pero yo me pregunto, ¿habrá alguna terapia, habrá algún apoyo para esto? Porque es lo único que yo no he podido encontrar para cómo apoyar a mi hijo en esta área, porque pues hay muchas cosas que él no es verbal, o sea, es verbal, pero hay algunas que sí las entiende, pero aplaude mucho, tiene mucho movimiento en su palpita mucho con el área de la palma de las manos. Y yo quisiera encontrar la manera, un apoyo, cómo apoyarlo en esa área, porque en la escuela tampoco no me dan pues ese apoyo, no me dan cómo apoyarlo. Y no sé, pues tal vez ustedes tienen algún dispositivo, alguna área donde pudiera yo encontrar un lugar para apoyar a mi hijo en esto. Se los agradecería mucho.
Well, I think that communication is always important for a person who has a difficulty getting the bodies organized and focused. It doesn't sound like it would be the quick fix that it could be to most people, but it really does help. When you have a reason to get focused and purposeful, like people are talking to me and they want me to say something, people can focus for longer. It doesn't mean that it goes away, but you need probably some kind of support at home to generalize. If he truly is, I'm going to go with he is more focused at school. Let's assume he is. Then whatever it is that they do to make that happen and work for him, to support him, you probably need to know so that you can do it at home as well. Now, if they're not doing that and they're just saying that, then that's a different story. Either way, he needs to learn. He needs to have a team that learns him so that he can be supported in a more positive way. So you'd be asking the school system, number one, you can ask the school system one more time to share how they organize him so that he can be more focused. And then as a regional center client, if you are a regional center client, you can say, I need support for his communication. I need support for him to be able to regulate and stay focused in our home. And now, unfortunately, because as you can see in this conversation, you're probably not going to get the help right away, but you have to start asking for it. Okay. And then let us support you through the barriers that you come to. Okay. Thanks. Let's see, William says, no, that's okay. Okay, we have another person raising their hand. Can somebody who has a bigger screen than me unmute the next person?
Go ahead, Medallia. You should be able to unmute and speak.
Thank you.
Sí, buenas tardes.
Hi.
Mi pregunta es, quisiera saber si ustedes pudieran darme alguna recomendación para mi hijo. Pues él en la escuela no va al baño, se aguanta. Entonces eso le ha causado que se enferme, está con especialistas y pues su salud se ha deteriorado mucho, pero yo quisiera saber si hay algo que ustedes me puedan recomendar que puedo yo hacer pues para que él vaya al baño, porque si nomás yo le digo, tienes que ir al baño, pues pues no lo hace. Y también, él tiene también un problema en sus manos que siempre se las está lavando y se las está sacudiendo, nomás se pasa así como sacudiendo sus manos. Yo también quería saber si tienen algún consejo, algo que les haya ayudado a ustedes, alguien que tenga su niño ese problema pues que me puedan apoyar con eso.
Right, that's a good question. So if you have that, either one of those scenarios going on in your life and you want to offer up some suggestions, then put that in the chat. I think that, I mean, the best way to help with the restrooming issue is to be able to communicate with him to find out what is it that makes it so he doesn't go to the restroom at school. And typically, I mean, if you could just ask him, then great, ask him that question. But if you don't have a means of communication, we can't ask that question. But different people say different things, like they just have a rule. They only go to the bathroom at home. It's not a healthy rule, but it's a rule. Other people say, I can't, the toilet flushing at school is too loud. Some people say the smell bothers me. There's all different reasons why people get into that scenario. So if anybody has that as part of their lifestyle and has had some stress around using the restrooms, and I don't know if it's just school or public places, that might be as well, just that nowhere in the public, you could put that in the chat. That would be great. I'm going to always say get communication, but that's my bias. So connect with us on that. Let's see, where are we? Okay, Geso, are you?
Oh, Rocio is ahead of Geso as a heads
Oh,
up.
sorry. Okay, go for it then, Ed, whoever's next.
Sí, buenas tardes. Antes que nada, gracias por todo lo que yo he visto en estas reuniones que nos apoyan. Yo soy discapacitada, pero por eso me gusta mucho conocer más cosas así. Y sí tengo una pregunta. Yo también soy de LUSD y hay una mamá que en X escuela le dijeron que les iban a dar los dispositivos para su hijo es sordo. Y luego dice que no se los dieron. Entonces, yo quería preguntarles, ¿habrá algún modo que ella agarrara ese aparato fuera de LUSD? ¿Y cuáles serían los requisitos? Porque ella también está aprendiendo el lenguaje de señas por su hija. Es una madre admirable, de verdad. Y yo quisiera, no sé, también pedirles permiso para mandarle el link para que ella pueda asistir a estas reuniones.
Oh, of course. Please share. We can put our DVU link in there. And then, as you all probably know, if you sign up on our list, then you get announcements from us. So I think that would be awesome. Thank you, Ed.
Gra- Gracias por ese permiso, lo voy a hacer con muchísimo gusto. Y la pregunta, ella podría agarrar un dispositivo,
So
no sé,
to answer the,
con
can I
el
go,
centro
I want
regional
to
o
answer
algo.
her question.
Perdón.
Yeah, I want to answer her question too, though. Can I do that?
Muchas
okay?
gracias.
Okay, so first of all, it concerns me that you said you have a report, an assessment that says you're supposed to have some technology, or this person does, that they don't have. That's not okay. If the report said they needed this technology and the student shows that they need this technology to be active and participating in school, then the school needs to provide it. So that's number one. If it's a piece of technology where the school, for whatever reason, would say, oh, it can't go home, it's only a school thing, then you take that same report and you go to regional center and you say, hey, this is a need, and this person needs this at home as well. I mean, I would guess that the person is deaf at home and at school. I don't think he's not deaf in one setting. So regional centers to cover your home needs, and the school is to cover your educational needs. Again, I'm assuming this person's a regional center client, so if they're not, then I'd probably have a different recommendation for the home part. And Michelle put in there a suggestion might be, oh, this is for the bathrooming, is here at 509. Michelle put a suggestion in for the restroom one. And then Kathy put in one at 711. So for the bathroom question, put that in there. And Susan put one in as well. Okay, another person. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for that. That's good. Okay, here we go. Michelle, this is for the bathroom question. One suggestion might be to try and get permission to use the school's nurse's bathroom. You may need to get a note from your doctor explaining the need and add it to your IEP and health plan. Maybe it's a privacy issue. Kathy said if mom could go with him to the bathroom to meet all his needs for a while, along with another person that she can train with what his needs are, he could have trust issues. He may need to build a relationship with a support person. If it is the smell or the privacy, or that he might get bullied when in the bathroom with other kids, maybe he can use the bathroom in the nurse's office. There you go. 2 votes for nurse's office. Susan said, my son was not going to the bathroom in 1st grade, so I asked for a one-on-one for the whole day to teach my son on a certain time to go to the bathroom in the morning lunch and before going home. Some people need to use a restroom schedule, yes. So that their health doesn't get compromised. Sue said, for toileting at school issue, have they tried desensitizing the student? I did this with students where I let them use my phone or tablet to watch videos of toilets flushing, no one using the toilet, but they could see and hear the flushing sounds, and let them take the device into the bathroom to play a favorite game or whatever they like, and it worked. And yes, it was because we had a rapport and they trusted me. And yes, you should supervise that because you don't want the technology falling in the toilet. Baby steps. Yeah. Okay, is there another hand raised, Ed?
Yes, there is. Geso, I'm going to allow you to unmute again. So go right ahead and unmute and go ahead and ask your question, please. So again, a heads up that I have enabled you to unmute on my side. If you can hear us, go ahead and unmute on yours, please.
Maybe Geso. Oh,
We'll just try that one more time. I'm gonna ask you to unmute again, Geso. If not, we have a question that we can do in the chat as well.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go to the question, and if Geso is around and wants to jump in, then we'll do that next. Okay, Sandra asked, my son will not give him permission to school to, is not given permission at school to wear sweatpants instead of jeans. But he is very sensitive to the jeans are sensitive to his skin. What can I do? That might need to be an accommodation, right? Does your son have an OT that's saying he has sensory issues, sensory things that they're working on, sensory processing that he's working through as an OT? Because if he does, and if that makes sense that wearing jeans is difficult for him, then that would be an accommodation. Anybody else have a suggestion for that? Please put it in the chat. The school. Okay. Well, I think I would go for, this needs to be an accommodation. He needs to be able to wear clothing that doesn't irritate his sensory system in order to participate in school. And don't give in on that. I know you guys work hard to get all of this written down. That's what we've got to make simpler for everybody. Okay. Looking to see if there's anything else. All right, well, I think that everybody has come up with wonderful suggestions. Tim, we didn't get to do the AAC and the employment thing, which we have like 10 minutes left, which is fine. We could start that conversation, but I know that we're going to want to talk about it later too. Oliver put in the chat here, I will never go to the bathroom at school or at a public place and dealt with health issues because of it. I am now better about it now, though it can still be tough. I second William's suggestion about setting up permission to use the school's nurse's bathroom. It is not always the most easily accessible depending on how close it is to the usual classroom. So especially depending on what the barrier is to using the bathroom is. It would be likely ideal to figure out a way for him to use the nearest bathroom. Yes. But that's great input, and thank you for your share, Alvar. How much is it for the conference? I'm not sure which conference you're talking about. Let us know what you mean, which conference, and if we know the answer, we'll share it with you. Do people want to, is talking about AAC and employment a conversation we want to have? Just a yes, Eller's a yes. Tim's a yes, I know. William's a yes, I know. I think Carrie, okay, so people yes, okay. All right, we'll put that on our list. Is it next month that you're out of town, Tim? September. October, okay, so maybe we can do it next month. If we don't have anything already planned. Okay, so we will definitely, we're getting a bunch of guesses. Sheila says, I have trouble getting AAC services. From, finish the sentence, from who? From regional center or from your schools? And then we want to do the bilingual one too, Tim, multicultural. That's it. I can't find anyone. Okay, but are you in a school? Are you asking a school system or a regional center system? Because there's different paths. Are you, I don't know how old you are, Sheila, so. You're an adult, okay, so, well, and you're a regional center client? You just can't find a service provider? If that's the case, where do you live? What city? Oh, you're in Colorado, yikes. Colorado. Hmm. I know somebody in Idaho. I'll have to think about, I'll research if there's people in Colorado. What city in Colorado are you in? Like I said, I know somebody in Boise, Idaho.
Hi, Alvar. I'm going to reach out to you to be on the panel on AAC and employment.
Uh-oh, Alvar, you're in. Thanks, Tim. And so, okay, Denver, Colorado. Okay, I'll do some looking into that. See if I can find anybody who's asking this. Sheila Durant. Okay. I'm writing it down, Sheila. And you need an assessment. Okay. Amy says hi, Tim. She says the online would be difficult. Yeah, so you need it in person. I agree. Okay. All right, I'll look into that. Tim's typing. I don't know if Nina's still on, but we got some great barriers to talk about.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely still on and I've been listening. Yeah, I think we have so much to think on and put together, you know, some great points and keep it coming with examples, you know, anytime we get together, you know, or let us know, just contact us with especially examples of what you're facing. I know that, you know, Darlene had mentioned also, or, you know, asked about just the, you know, just the barriers of the constant requirement that you might be facing. I know I have for my son with this, like needing an assessment for people that are known for years to either school districts or the regional center. And, you know, just in the face of needing all of this stuff, just to be able to get what is really a fundamental need, you know, just what the effect of that is on you and how that's, you know, we're very interested in hearing that, because that is something we've heard and seen ourselves. And in I don't know if you all get DVUs weekly, just the reminders of like this event. We have a link there to an article just about navigation fatigue or navigation anxiety, and just navigating the system to make the requests for these things that you need and what you put up with, just the anxiety that causes it. Just really resonated, and I recommend it to everybody. But this has been a super great conversation, and the points are awesome, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and Deva, you were bringing up that you know, there's people out there that she uses multiple modes of AAC and of communication, and people insist that she use one and all the time, and that they're not, then I think it's speech, you're saying that they insist that you use your speech, and that's wrong on so many levels, because you shouldn't have people telling you how you communicate or what mode of communication you use when you're judging in your head, what can I be most effective with right now? Right? Like that is, you are the expert on your communication.
And why isn't that so encouraged? Like, you know, the notion of the multimodality should be like, great, that's fantastic. And more, you know, I find that incredible, that need of, you just get one, that is crazy.
Right. And I'm going to pick it for you, by the way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so then Debbie, you're talking about how that expectation and that demand, it gives you anxiety, and then your speech gets worse. Like, yeah, it's, oh my gosh.
Arlene, maybe we can reach out to some of the vendors to see if they know anybody in Colorado.
Yeah. That's a
Also,
good idea.
the SDP conference is on November 3rd, and the landing page will be coming soon. Look out for more information in our newsletter soon.
November 3rd. And so, and I don't know if people are in self-determination, but like I said, it, you know, that's choice, but it does seem that people are able to get their needs met. I'm not going to say it's easy, but
there is inherently more flexibility. There's no doubt about that. You're not limited to vendor, you know, to vendorized services. So there's just, you know, it's a place to go. Nothing's easy. That's a given, but there's certainly more flexibility, especially for things like communication, access, and support.
Can somebody put the DVU website in the chat, please, for Mariel? I guess it would be. Oh, here, Sue Gavin's got a tip for you, Sheila. I mean, is it Sheila? Is that who I'm talking about? Yeah, Sheila. There's a tip in there. And there's the DVU website. Yeah. All right. Tim, are you, do you have anything in closing? I don't want to cut you off. Okay. Yes, thank you. For the, there's a, is that Geso that's saying this? Am I saying your name right, Geso? Davis speech gets, but yeah. Thank you all. Okay. So we're gonna, we have a hard stop at 5:30. And I want to thank you all. This has been a really insightful and I think important conversation to have. And I'm very, very excited about it. I'm reading the chat still, sorry.
Perdón.
Okay.
Sí dijeron bien mi nombre, okay?
All right. So we, oh, Geso.
Eso, sí.
Okay, good. I am going to say goodbye to everybody. I want to do that. Remember that next month it is on September. Pull it up, Darlene. What is it? I want to say the 19th, but I don't know for sure. Did I guess right? I did. William, I guessed right. Okay, so September 19th. So watch for that. And we will keep you informed on who we get to be the guest speakers. And we will keep you informed on what we learn about having conversations with Nancy Bargeman. Okay. So thank you all and have a good evening.